All right, what's up, FFA? Good morning. Hey, if you guys can hear me loud and clear, shoot me a thumbs up in the agency chat. But we're coming here live with a cool call plan for you guys today, as we have two veteran agents that are going to come on here and share some tips with you guys. So jumping into today's call, though, hopefully you saw the intro video for the holiday party coming up on January 11th. Do everything you can, okay, to get there. Alicia will be sending out invitations here this week, but it's going to be a really cool event for you and your plus one to attend. We're going to give out the 2024 awards at the holiday party. So if you're ready to see who wins Agent of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all of those cool awards that we have planned, this holiday party is going to be the event that you want to come to. I know you guys, if you've been here before with us last year, you saw how cool that event was with the DJ and the selfies setup and the dance floor, and the food was really good. So really cool event coming up here January 11th. So stay tuned for that. Look in your inbox for the invite. And let's jump into today's call. So we had two agents that had a huge week last week. Let's give a big shout out to Taylor Wade. And you guys will have to bear with me. I totally lost my voice over the weekend. So we're going to get through this call together. But T Wade went over 10K last week. You guys are going to get to hear from her on today's call. But big shout out to her for having a phenomenal week. Another big shout out to Allison for having a $20,000 week on the week of Thanksgiving. So what a better way to kick off a Thanksgiving week than it with a 10K week or a 20K week. But nice job to El Chapo for putting up almost over $20,000 last week. So before we jump in to some of these veteran agents, you guys are going to get to hear from Taylor Wade and from Paulo on today's call, two agents who have just crushed it since they've got started. Before we jump into that, though, the free lead incentive, all right, for the month of December, we put our heads together and thought, what better way than to reward you guys with free leads in the month when there's a lot going on, right? So if we could take the stress of leads off of you for this month, that is our goal. So the details are in WhatsApp. Every agent gets 15 free leads to kick off the week. Now, to keep it running, okay, you got to put up 4K of production each week to keep getting them for the next weekend. So this week, everybody gets them that signs up. Next week, it's going to come down to the agents who put up the AP to qualify them for the weeks to come. So 15 each. Hey, check it out. I would just add these to what you're already doing, right? I know so many of you are already on lead orders. You've already got new leads coming in. This is just a bonus for the month of December. Give you a chance at some extra sales out there. So free leads for you guys. Sign up sheet is in WhatsApp. So make sure you go there, you sign up. Hey, I would encourage you, pick a county that you've not worked before. All right, the month of December is a good month to explore some new territory. So drop 3 counties that you want to work, that you want to get your leads in. And I'm going to work on getting you guys all the leads. If you signed up for it, I'm working on getting you guys those leads today. So those leads are to come. Let's talk about momentum. All right, guys, December is a month that you could either have a lot of momentum, or it might be the month, it's the last month of the year, right, that your train is kind of slowing down going into the holiday season. But check it out. December is what sets up your 2025, right? All the production that's going to hit come January is what you're going to be writing this month. So if you want to start off 2025 with a ton of momentum, this is the time to do it, right? This is the crunch time for you in the month of December. So 3 quick tips for you guys on how to gain momentum for this month. Number 1, all right, you need an event. Okay. Nothing really happens unless something forces it. All right. What do I mean by that? You have to make the conscious decision that you want to have that momentum going in to 2025. All right. What does that look like for you? I want you to think back to what 2024 was like and where do you see yourself in 2025? All right. If you guys have been doing these coaching calls with me, you'll know one of the things I ask you is, what do you want next year to look like? All right. I want you guys to think of that today because it's December 2nd. All right. First business day of December. What event? All right. Today could be that event that puts you into the mindset of getting that momentum, right? Sometimes, guys, you just got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. You want to see your life change next year, right? If you're going into this holiday season stressed out about bills or buying presents or whatever it is, okay, let this be the absolute last year that's ever even a worry on your plate during the holidays, right? So think about it. What event have you had happen here recently or that you're going to put your mind to that's going to cause you to actually get moving, right? Cause you to gain that momentum. You need an event, all right? If you don't have an event that pushes you, okay, sometimes you'll just do barely enough, right? But if something puts you over the edge, that's usually where you find the momentum kicking off. All right, number 2, you got to take action. All right, so we took the kids to the Polar Express in Bryson City. If you've never been there, highly recommend it. Awesome little town in the mountains of North Carolina. But what was interesting about this Polar Express, this massive train had 14 carts. Each cart held like probably 60 people. What was funny is when the train started to get going, okay, you could hear the engines kick in, right? And then this train would slowly start to move. And then before you know it, it was going like 30 miles an hour. But for the first probably half a mile, it took that train getting warmed up, right? And so what does that look like for you in this business? Guys, you got to take the action to get the momentum. All right. If you're trying to build an agency next year, you got to take the action towards recruiting. If you're trying to run to be a 200K producer next year, you got to take the action to be able to do that. Maybe that looks like you adding one more presentation to your day than you're used to. Maybe that looks like you're doing 5 more leads a week than you're used to, right? You're adding to your plate. You're taking the small steps to gain the traction and to gain the momentum. What do those steps look like for you, right? If you're not sure of what those look like, book the coaching call, guys, the agency growth one or the 200K producer one. We'll go through it. We'll make it very simple for you to reach that goal for next year, but take the action. All right. This is key. If you want to gain momentum, it's all in the effort. Okay. What you put into this business is what you're going to get out of it, right? One of the biggest questions agents always ask, like potential agents, as they're looking to do this is, well, is the income consistent with it being commission based? How much can you actually make, right? And my answer is always the same. You will get out of this whatever you put into it. All right. So if you put a ton of effort in, you're going to get a ton out of this. If you don't put anything in, you're not going to get anything, right? So what action are you willing to take to build up that momentum for this month? And then lastly, consistent effort. You see, when we were on that Polar Express, it ran at the same speed for an hour straight, right? As we were on our way to the North Pole to see Santa Claus, it ran at the same speed. It was putting in the same amount of horsepower in that engine throughout the whole time, right? Think about cruise control in your car, okay? If you set your cruise control to 65 miles an hour, your vehicle is inputting the same amount of effort to keep it at that speed. If you want momentum, you have to give consistent effort every single day. All right. Every single day, if you do the same thing, you're going to get momentum. You're going to get the result that you want to see. All right. But think about that Polar Express. What would happen if the guy driving it, right, would be like floors it to the floors the pedal down, goes like 60 miles an hour, then slams on his brakes, then goes again and goes up and goes down. It would have been an awful ride. Right. But if it was consistent, It was nice, smooth, steady, and we got to the destination. And that's the same thing that will happen for you in building momentum if you put in consistent effort, right, guys? I think consistent effort for me, 3 presentations a day, 4 a day, 5 a day, whatever I could reach, that's what I would stick to every single day. My goal was always 5. All right. But if I could hit 4 or 5 a day, I knew at the end of the week, I was going to hit my goal, right? Maybe not at the end of the day. Maybe I do 4 that day. I don't close anything, but the next day I close all of them. At the end of the week, I'd have hit my goal. At the end of the month, I always hit my goal. At the end of the year, I always hit the goal because I was putting in consistent effort every single day, regardless of what was going on around me. So some simple tips to help you guys build momentum in your business. So next up, I'm going to bring on Taylor Wade and I'm going to bring on Paulo. Okay, we're going to get them on here for like a round robin Q&A style. If you guys have questions for them, drop it in the chat. But check it out. If you don't know who Taylor is, she's a boss, number 1. But number 2, all right, she has been an agent for years now, and she has been one of the most consistent agents I have ever seen. Always puts up great numbers and is always being successful. Same thing with Paulo. Okay, Paulo has hit every agency trip that we have put out there since he got started. He's done well over 6 figures in production every year that I've known him, and just a super consistent agent too. So I'm going to add them guys to the feed here. Taylor, you are live. Paulo, you are live. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what's up, guys? I got you both. Thanks for jumping on here today. So, hey, quick intro. Let's give everybody just an idea. So, Taylor, how long have you been an agent for?
I have been an agent since March of 2021.
2021. Awesome. So you're almost coming up on the 4-year mark.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. What about you, Paula? When did you get licensed? Hey, Paula, I think your earbuds might be breaking up on you, man. You were sounding like a robot on me. Okay, I can get you. You just got to unmute. If you hit the unmute on the
All right.
There you go. I got you now.
Awesome.
Cool, man.
Yeah, so I got licensed in July 2020, but I didn't start working until October the same year.
That's awesome. So, hey, so both of you guys are pretty much at like the 4-year mark, 5-year mark. Let's just go Q&A style. So, Taylor, what's a tip you have for an agent, right? They're looking at you right now. How did they make this career work? Like, if you could think of one top tip to give an agent to be successful at this business, what would it be?
I would say just to get out of your comfort zone. Because when I started, y'all would never believe it, but I don't like to talk to strangers. I don't like to talk to anybody that I don't know. I'm very introverted. I hate even picking up the phone. So I just kind of got out of my comfort zone. And there's still times like today that I don't want to do what I'm doing, but I just make myself, and then it always works out in the end.
And that's so true. A lot of times, if you do what you don't want to do, anytime you're thinking of like something and you're like, oh, I really don't want to do that, that's like a clue that you should do it. I'll give you guys a good example of this. So Alicia went out and she bought these massive wood reindeer things for the front yard. All right. And I had to put these things together. They're not like a normal reindeer. They're like huge. Right. And then I had to paint them, had to put lights on them. And I'll be honest, I really didn't want to do it. But when I thought, hey, I don't want to put her reindeer together, I thought I better go do that. And long and behold, it made her so happy. The weekend was awesome because I did what I didn't want to do. Right. So I love that tip, Taylor. What about you, Paulo? What's a tip you have for an agent? Like doing this 4 or 5 years now, man, you've crushed it, dude. Always super successful. What do you got for them?
Honestly, just work a lot, just like you said a little bit ago, you'll get as much as you put into, right? And when it comes down to this business, I mean, starting as a new agent, you're new, you don't know anything, you're being hopefully coach well by your upline, but you learn from your own mistakes, you know. So you have to put yourself in front of as many people as possible, so you can learn, so you can, you know, sell some policies, make some mistakes, and that's it, you know. When I first started, I used to work on Saturdays. I work on Saturdays sometimes, but I mainly do like back office kind of thing. Um, but yeah, you know, I would work from 10 to 2, 10 to 3 on Saturdays, at least 2 Saturdays a month, Monday through Friday, you know, 8 hours every day. Nowadays, it's getting dark around 5:30, so you want to get in the house by 5 p.m. at the very least. So just putting yourself out there, you know. We are all pretty much self-employed, and for new agents that are transitioning from working for somebody and not working for themselves, it can be tricky, you know, because nobody's really expecting you, right? You're the only one that has to get out of bed. You're the only one that has to, you know, get in the car and be at a house by 10:30 or 11, you know. So just working a lot. That's the number one tip.
That's an awesome tip, man. I think that was like, if I think back to my very first year, that was probably the one tip that made me successful at this. Is I wasn't a great agent, but I just talked to so many people. It was like impossible not to win at this. You know, I think back to getting told no at like my first 9 doors. And then on the 10th door, I went and knocked on it. And a lady didn't even ask who I was. She was just like, come on in. I'm like, she didn't even know. She didn't ask who I was, nothing. She's like, come sit down. I sat down at her kitchen table and she's like, so why are you here? What are we talking about? And I just went into the presentation. I was like, man, that was easy. So all I gotta do is knock on 9 people and the 10th one will be nice to me, you know? So if you just put the activity in, guys, and that's it. Like if you're ever an agent and you're struggling, I promise you, if I looked at the activity you were putting in, it's not enough for you not to struggle. But it's amazing what happens when you just don't think so much and you just start putting in the work, like Paulo said, all the good things that come out of that. So Taylor, what you had a huge week last week, 10K. You wrote a huge annuity. Give everybody kind of that process, right? I know a lot of agents, let's talk to the experienced agents out here on today's call. They're like trying to uncover these annuities, these opportunities and stuff. Just give them a rundown of how you were able to find that and what that looked like.
Well, that was my first annuity. I have been pretty much telling Allison all year that I wanted to do an annuity because she's got like 5 under her belt. But it was honestly, we kind of just stumbled upon it. The lady that I was sitting with, she had so much going on. And I called like 5 different insurance carriers. Turns out only one of the policies that she had was active. And the last person I called happened to be the annuity. And I was going in thinking it was life insurance. And then come to find out it was an annuity. So I just kind of switched which questions I was asking and just kind of went down the list and had no idea what I was asking. But I got the answers and then just kind of sent it to you and kind of just followed up and ended up being successful.
That's awesome. Guys, you could just see like that was Taylor's first annuity. I'm sure she was nervous asking the questions and didn't really understand everything. But then, you know, we get on the Zoom with her and her client, just kind of go through it, see what her client's need for the money was. And we realized, hey, in her current annuity, she was making 1%. Like, that's awful. You can make more having the money in a savings account right now. So we were able to get her a premium bonus. So her account went up by like $2,000 for nothing. Didn't cost her anything. And her interest rate went from like 1%, and it's probably on a fixed rate going to be like 5%. And on the index funds going to be way higher than that. So she was able to really help her client out. And in the process, she made like, Taylor, once that closes and goes through and everything, you'll make like, what did I say? Like $6,000, depending how much actually moves over. So just off one client, one commission. So that's awesome. So Paulo, one thing, man, that that I've noticed with you, right, is I never have to like worry about like what's Paulo doing. Like he's just every week posted numbers. You're always in the top, always at the end of the year in the top 10, always crushing it. What's like the motivating factor for you, right? Because I think like you were talking about how there's not going to be someone pushing you to get out your door. That's up to you. But what have you found as an agent that like drives you to show up for yourself every single day?
That's a great question. That's all I've ever done, you know. I mean, a lot of people don't know about my story, but I moved by myself from Peru at 19 years old to the States, you know. I didn't know the language. I didn't know a whole lot of people. I only, I had my uncle that lived in New Jersey, but I just came by myself, you know. And you only have one option when you're in that situation. You just gotta work, you know. And so I understood that at a very young age. You know, I was always like, there was nothing else I could do. You know, I wasn't gonna go to school, so that was pretty much my only option. And then before doing insurance, I had my own business. So I used to do residential painting. Of course, I started as a painter, like anyone else, working for somebody else. But then I started my own business. And so ever since, you know, like I just work for myself, you know. And one thing I like a lot about painting or doing high-end residential painting was just talking to my clients, you know. So I kind of like that. I like being able to help people, you know, or just do something good for them, you know. And when it comes down to life insurance, you can do that for pretty much every single person, you know, unless they are in a really good spot, you know. And even if they're in a good spot, at least you can confirm with them, hey, your policy's in a good spot. Don't let anyone touch it. You're good to go, you know. So yeah, you know, I'm just used to getting up early and going to work, you know. That's just what I do.
I love that, man. It's like it's ingrained in you. What a story. So you came over to the States at 19.
Right.
What was that like? Like, how did you even like begin that process? You just were like, hey, I just want to move, and you just moved and just figured it out once you got here?
Yeah, so it was kind of like back then Peru was going through like a huge recession, you know, so I didn't have a whole lot of options as far as like going to school. Like college is not free, you know, you have to pay for it. And yeah, I just didn't have it, you know. And I realized that, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of options if I had stayed in Peru. So yeah, I had the opportunity to come to the States. I didn't know the language, but I've always loved to adventure, you know, and meet new people, see new places. And I just made it here, you know. I had no idea what to expect about the States, you know, but I knew I was just gonna stay here, you know, and just somehow make it work, you know. Like when you're against the wall and you know that there are no other options, somehow you're just gonna have to make it work, you know, no matter what. So yeah, just try it, you know.
That's gold, man. When you're against the wall, you don't have any other option but to make it work. That's so true. Like, I think that's like, I remember doing this business part-time, and then I quit my full-time job. And it was like, I woke up the next day, I'm like, well, I don't have a choice but to make this work. Like, you don't have any, when you don't give yourself like a backup plan, it's amazing how your brain just naturally finds a way to win. I think it's like, it's God in the background, right? Like just having faith that it's going to work out and putting the right foot forward. So I love that. Now, Taylor, tell everybody, how old are you? Like, how old were you when you got started in insurance?
I was 23.
So like, what was your thought of being like 23? I know you just like finished up college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, what made you think like, you know, I'm just going to go start selling insurance? Cause there's so many people like in their early 20s. I think I started insurance when I was 24, 25. So I wasn't that much older than you, but it was the same thing. I thought like, man, if I found this when I was 18, I'd have loved that. Right. So like speak to like the younger crowd. What made you jump into this industry and what's it been like for you?
Yeah, well, I graduated in COVID, and pretty much was in my degrees. They were very much hospitality based, and so with COVID, all that was shut down. So I was working at Amazon, and I knew I did not want to work there for the rest of my life because that was not fun. And this just kind of fell, and well, I credit my mom. Some people have met my mom. Mama Gwen she was my recruiter for me, and she worked with Allison at the hospital, and I was like, what in the world am I getting myself into? I don't even have insurance myself, but I'm gonna go talk to these people about insurance. So it was very crazy, and everyone thought I was crazy because, like I said before, I didn't talk to people I did not know. I was very to my own little bubble, and knocking on random people's doors was very out of my comfort zone. um, but I just kind of made it work, and it became like very fun to me, and meeting people that I worked when I first started, I kind of worked in my hometown. So I met a lot of people that already knew my dad because he has stayed here his whole life. And so it became fun. And then I ran into a lot of people that I couldn't help. So then just kind of started switching areas. And then just have been hopping around all over the place. But I just love the flexibility that it gives me, and that I know there's nowhere else that I could go that I could do that because I like to travel a lot.
Mhm. That's awesome. So such a cool, such a cool story from both of you guys. Paulo, how you jumped into this, Taylor, how you jumped into this, right? And I think that's the thing about this industry, about you two specifically. Like I look at you guys doing this now for, like we talked about, 4 or 5 years, and you just always show up for yourself. I think that's such a key to just finding yourselves being successful in this. Is a lot of people, for whatever reason, they'll only show up for other people. Like in the W-2 world, it's like, hey, I'm going to pay you this, but you got to show up Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And like, if they wake up and they're sick, they're like, oh, I better go. I'm going to get fired. Right. But in this industry, agents tend to be like, well, I don't have to show up. Right. But it's like, you guys both avoid those personal excuses and show up every day, which is awesome. So I love those stories. What's a closing tip you guys have for them? Paula, what's a closing tip you have for an agent? Maybe they're in their first year. Heck, maybe it's an agent who's been doing this for 4 years, but they it just hasn't clicked yet for them. What's a tip you have for them to find success at this?
So I wrote a quote the other day, and it says, "The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding." And when I heard that quote, it really hit home with me. Just do the things that you're avoiding, pretty much. By nature, we avoid fear. And a lot of the times we avoid things just that we don't want to do because we don't either know the outcome or just because it takes us out of our comfort zone. And if there's an agent that's been in the business for a long time and for some reason, they are not doing that great, or, things are not going the way they expected them to go, I would just say, just take a second and just reflect on what are the things that you could do to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you're the only one that knows the answer, but you just have to take a second and just reflect on it. I think anyone is capable of doing more than what they think they can do. So that's really what it comes down to.
That's gold, man. What a cool quote. The magic is in the work you're avoiding.
The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Yep, that's so true. I love that one. Taylor, what about you? What's a closing tip you have? If an agent wants to wake up one day and be a boss like Taylor Wade is right now, what do they got to do?
I always say the answer will always be no if you don't ask. So you will always get told no if you don't knock on the door, if you don't pick up the phone. So only times that you'll get told yes is when you ask. So I think a lot of times, like in the beginning, I was like, oh, there's no one home, so I'm not going to go knock on the door. Or, oh, they're out in the yard working, I'm not going to bother them. So they were always telling me no in my head. But it wasn't until I started, going out, putting myself out there, that I started getting yeses. So just always shoot your shot, and some days it'll land and some days it won't, and it's okay if it doesn't. Just keep on trying.
Amen to that. Another golden tip. I think that's so true, guys. If you're not hitting the numbers you want to hit, you've just not been told no enough. You're playing this way too conservative. Knock on the neighbor's door, knock down the whole street. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like Taylor said, if you don't ask, it's automatically a no. You don't get anything out of it. Some of my biggest policies have came from doing just like what Taylor said, talking to somebody that was cutting their grass when I originally thought, oh, I don't really want to interrupt their day, right? But I go talk to them, like, yeah, I've been waiting for someone to come out here, and boom, just made my whole week, So you can't prejudge the situation. The only one that knows what that person's going to say back to you is God, and we're not God. So you got to show up and ask for it. So Taylor, love that tip. Paulo, I love that tip. Thank you guys both for joining me. And hey, super proud of you both. You guys have set the stage for what's possible as agents. So super appreciative of you guys for being here and jumping on this call with us today. So guys, that's all we got for you. All right, it's 9:32. Let's go start the first week of December and have a great week. Don't forget, holiday party, January 11th. Make sure you block off your schedule if you want to see Taylor Wade get kind of crazy at the holiday party. Going down January 11th. So we appreciate you guys. We'll be back here on Wednesday.